Welcome to Top 30. I'm Kristen Smith.
And I'm Richard Bacon, and here are your top 30 stories in 30 minutes. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle officially announced their engagement Monday. Time now for a special edition of Royal Watch with the Sun. Markle will be the first American to be welcomed into the royal family. The wedding is being planned for spring, but no official date has been announced. She is an actress, best known for her role in the TV show Suits. She's 36, she was born in Los Angeles and has been married once before. The royal couple appeared together at Kensington Palace Gardens for a photo shoot shortly after the news was made public. Markle flashed the ring, which was designed by Harry and features diamonds that belonged to his late mother, Princess Diana. And Harry was asked about the proposal.
Tell us, how did you propose? Was it romantic?
Let's join our very own Arthur Edwards, who was there asking the big questions. He has been the Sun's royal photographer for 40 years. Arthur, a big day.
Very big day for us in Britain, you know. We're going through a bad time in this country and we needed some really good news.
Which questions were you shouting at the royal couple this morning?
I shouted one question, could we see the ring, please, Meghan? And she showed it to me and, you know, like this, and it was sparkling, a huge rock. And she was so happy. She was relaxed. Harry was a little bit tense, a little bit nervous.
Yeah.
But Meghan, she was just brilliant. She just went straight into it. She's had some really good advice from Catherine and from Camilla, both women who married into the royal family in recent years. She must have listened very closely because, you know, you don't take this job on lightly. It's a tough job she's taken on. I think she's going to do it with flying colours.
You know, she's in the TV show Suits. She was a model on Deal or No Deal. She wants to be looked at. Isn't this what she wants?
Well, you know what? Let's hope she does, because she's going to get a lot of looking at.
Always a great joy to talk to you. Thanks for taking time out from what must be a very busy day. Arthur Edwards, thank you.
These are your quick hits. More than 180 women have claimed therapists at massage envy chains sexually assaulted them. According to BuzzFeed News, the women have, quote, filed sexual assault lawsuits, police reports, and state board complaints against massage envy spas, their employees, and the national company. A volcano erupting on the island of Bali has left about 59,000 domestic and international tourists stranded when all flights from the main airport were canceled Monday morning. Authorities ordered a mass evacuation for the danger zone around the volcano. Demi Lee Nell-Peters is Miss Universe 2017. She won the title Sunday night in Las Vegas. The 22-year-old Miss South Africa beat out the runner-up, Miss Colombia, Laura Gonzalez, to take the coveted crown. Congratulations to all the ladies who competed.
Let's go to the New York Stock Exchange for our Fox Business Minute with your friend of mine, Nicole Pedlides. Nicole, I am hearing big things about Jeff Bezos.
That's right, Richard. You may have been happy if you got a great deal on Black Friday, but the biggest winner was Amazon founder and CEO Jeff Bezos. According to Bloomberg estimates, Bezos saw his net worth rise to $100 billion after Amazon shares climbed on one of the busiest shopping days of the year. A power plant near Stockholm, Sweden, is using discarded clothes from H&M to power an electrical plant. By converting old plants to burn biofuels and garbage, the country is hoping to edge out the last of its oil coal units by the end of this decade. And Bitcoin has set a new record. Some analysts expect the price to surpass $10,000 by the end of the year. The reason for the surge, the CME recently said it plans to offer trading in Bitcoin futures, although a date has not been set.
Nicole, virtual currencies are largely unregulated, and their growth is a concern for international regulators.
Correct, Richard. Well, virtual currencies are not backed by any government or central bank, so no one is responsible for backing their value. Some analysts are warning of a huge bubble, also because Bitcoin lets people bypass banks and traditional payment processes, and banks and other financial institutions have been concerned about its possible links with money laundering and online crime. More Top 30 when we return.
Major League Baseball handed down the stiffest penalty possible, banning someone for life. And this is why. John Coppolella resigned as the Atlanta Braves general manager last month during MLB's investigation. The investigation is now finished, and the league said they found he manipulated payments to certain international prospects between 2015 and 2017 to bypass the rules. The league banned Coppolella for life, making him only the fourth person to be added to baseball's permanently ineligible list. 12 prospects he signed are now free agents, and they can keep the $16.5 million the Braves paid them in bonuses. Losing those players is a big blow to the Braves, who won just 72 games last year and were counting on those prospects to help turn the team around. Richard, you found some interesting info on the ice we get in our drinks at restaurants.
I have, Kristen, and you might want to rethink your order the next time you are at the bar. Business Insider surveyed 30 bartenders who revealed that despite strict industry guidelines, ice machines have a history of causing foodborne illness in the United States. One bartender stated almost no restaurants or bars clean their ice machines as regularly as they're supposed to. Most laws require ice machines to be cleaned 2 to 4 times a year to avoid the accumulation of mold and other dangerous bacteria. Some experts say if you want to be truly safe, then just order a glass of wine or a beer and avoid a mixed drink with ice. But I say mixed drinks are more interesting, and I will take that risk. Federal regulators want to repeal net neutrality, and here is what that means. The Federal Communications Commission prohibits internet service providers like Comcast, Verizon, and AT&T from slowing down or blocking websites and apps. The agency also keeps them from charging sites extra fees for better speeds. The rules were passed in 2015 by the Obama FCC. Now the FCC, under President Trump, led by new chairman Ajit Pai, has announced plans to reverse them. Instead of outlawing internet providers from blocking or slowing websites, Pai's proposal would just require internet providers to disclose if they're doing so. Pai has called the Obama regulations heavy-handed. So have the companies who provide internet service, but the companies who do business online, including giants like Amazon and Google, say this would allow providers to play favorites by charging consumers to access some sites but not others. Small companies say only large businesses will be able to afford the best speeds. The proposal has also drawn fire from free speech groups. A senior analyst at the ACLU said gutting net neutrality will have a devastating effect on free speech online. The plan comes up for a vote next month. It is expected to pass. This policy affects everyone who uses the internet by controlling what they will pay and what they can see.
1/3 of American children are overweight or obese, and the American Academy of Pediatrics wants to change the way we talk to our kids about it. A survey of women with obesity found that within families, 53% of children reported their negative feelings about their weight came from their mom, and 44% from their dad. As the statement points out, this stigma contributes to behaviors such as binge eating, social isolation, avoidance of healthcare services, decreased physical activity, and increased weight gain, which worsen obesity and create additional barriers to healthy behavior change. The new AAP policy suggests using people-first phrases like a child with obesity rather than an obese child. They also recommend doctors use the term unhealthy weight instead of fat or weight problem when speaking with their patients. After all, we want our language to help them, not hurt them.
A 102-year-old Holocaust survivor, Elia Petruska, was reunited with a nephew he never knew he had after losing touch with his brother in World War II. Petruska fled Poland before the start of the war and ended up in Israel. His twin brothers and parents were sent to a concentration camp where Elia believed they had all perished. However, his youngest brother, Wolf, escaped to Russia, where he had a son named Alexander. An unbelievably heartfelt reunion was made possible thanks to Yad Vashem Holocaust Memorial's comprehensive online database of Holocaust victims. It's a genealogy tool that's made it possible for hundreds of Holocaust survivors to find family they believed they had lost. In one of the most emotional bits of video you will perhaps ever see, here is the moment they met.
На ночь не сплю, потому что я жду вас. Я обещал.
Счастливый, что я могу с вами говорить и вас видеть. Хороший парень.
Democratic Representative John Conyers announced on Sunday he will leave his position as the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee. Last week, a BuzzFeed report alleged that 2 years ago, Conyers paid a woman $27,000 of taxpayer money to settle a complaint that she was fired from his staff for refusing his sexual advances. Conyers is now being investigated by the House Ethics Committee. He denies the allegations, but said, "I cannot in good conscience allow these charges to undermine my colleagues in the Democratic caucus." House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi was criticized for an interview she gave that some said went too easy on Conyers.
Just because someone is accused, and was it one accusation? Is it two? I think there has to be. John Conyers is an icon in our country.
Lawmakers are now facing calls for more transparency in how they handle claims of misconduct. The current law requires complaints to be handled confidentially. A bipartisan bill in the House, led by Democrat Jackie Speer and Republican Barbara Comstock, would require those claims to be handled in public. Conyers is the longest-serving representative in the House. He hopes to return to the committee after the investigation. In today's Hometown Stories from Fox 2 Detroit, Fierce Detroit, an organization helping mothers under 25 years old, held a successful diaper giveaway, a much-needed gesture as the National Diaper Bank states 1 in 3 mothers are in need of affordable diapers. Hats, gloves, and books were also provided.
We always work to empower mothers and make sure they have all the resources they need to succeed. So we wanted to put on a large event before the holidays to make sure that they were able to meet their basic needs for their children.
Our next story from Fox 35 Orlando. 8-year-old Maggie Scurlock's dream is to become a professional cheerleader, which is where the Dream of 3 organization came in, providing special opportunities for children with disabilities through the world of sports. Maggie was whisked away in a limo and flown out to perform the halftime show with the Orlando Magic cheerleaders, where she stole the spotlight.
Anytime a parent has someone care for their child in the way that this is going on, I mean, it just warms our heart.
Our final story from Fox 29 Philadelphia. It may be the off-season, but these kids still had an amazing experience at the ballpark. Usually spending their time in the hospital for cancer treatments or surgeries, these kids spent a night as Phillies teammates, getting swag, batting practice, and one-on-one time with starting pitcher Zach Eflin.
This is awesome. This is really outstanding thing that the Phillies put together.
A night of much-needed fun that they'll surely never forget.
The Nat Geo special series, The Long Road Home, tells the true story of members of the 1st Cavalry Division under attack during the Iraq War. Nat Geo and Google have partnered for a unique project offering help and healing for soldiers struggling with PTSD. Here are more details in this week's Nat Geo Minute.
Bravo Tango Brain Training was created by National Geographic and psychologist Dr. Michael Valdovinos to give veterans easy access to effective methods for reducing stress and maintaining healthy coping practices.
Together, we can train your brain with relaxing exercises designed to be helpful in your day-to-day life.
They're simple to use exercises, but they're quite effective, and what we've seen is that the more often you use them, the more comfortable you get.
Is meditation a technique that you've employed at any point, and what has that helped you with?
I enjoyed it, and the aspect of being able to just pull it out and use it whenever I want to, you know, it's pretty nice.
To recognize that you're in trouble, you're the only guy in the end who's going to be able to go get help. You're the guy or the woman who looks in the mirror and says, I need help.
You can use it in periods of high stress, or when you want to work on focus, or when you want to work on optimism.
Access Bravo Tango Brain Training with Google Assistant on your phone or with Google Home.
And you can watch The Long Road Home Tuesdays at 10, 9 Central on National Geographic. Sugar is not great for you, and it turns out the sugar industry probably knew this a long time ago. Professor Stanton Glantz of the University of California, San Francisco, argues that the industry knew of negative health risks and their strategies to cover it up were sophisticated. Glantz said what the sugar industry successfully did is they shifted all of the blame onto fats. A 1968 study on lab animals by the Sugar Research Foundation was abruptly stopped when the findings started to point to health risks, although the Sugar Association claims the study was just over budget. The Verge reports a review of internal industry documents also found that in the 60s, the Sugar Research Foundation secretly paid a team of Harvard scientists to downplay sugar's link to blood fat levels, which, if true, is astonishing.
Identical twins Jim and Pat Smurden grew up sharing the same experiences: school, friends, and sports. But when Jim was diagnosed with early-onset Parkinson's at age 33, it became impossible for his brother to understand what he was going through. Parkinson's disease impacts nearly 10 million people worldwide and is a progressive disorder of the nervous system that affects movement, like tremors, and changes in speech. But thanks to a revolutionary device, Pat can once again understand what his brother is going through. The Simpulse is a Bluetooth-connected armband that induces involuntary muscle movement, mimicking the patient's tremors in real time. Jim's wife tried it as well.
Exactly.
The makers of the device, Click Labs, hope a better understanding of the disease will improve both treatment and care, because it's hard to truly know a person's struggle and have real empathy until you experience it for yourself.
Many people want to retire with $1 million, but how long that million will last depends on where you live. The data analytics site How Much calculated how far $1 million lasts in retirement in every state. They based their report on the cost of living index for the second quarter of 2017, as well as the average annual expenses of people over 65. $1 million goes furthest in Missouri. It would buy a retirement of 25 years and 6 months. The state has the lowest cost of living in the United States. Arkansas came in second with 25 years even. Tennessee came in third with about 24.5 years. Those planning to retire in Hawaii will need a lot of planning or a short retirement. It is the most expensive of any state at just over 13 years, about half of what you get in Missouri. The next most expensive was the District of Columbia at 14 years, 2 months. In California, $1 million would last about 15 years. Experts recommend planning your investments and monthly payments based on the cost of living in your state so that you don't have to move.
Best friends Houston Purrong and Jack Kirkbride just had the experience of a lifetime together, but they're bonded by something much deeper. The 6-year-old boys met while they were both getting treatment for leukemia at Johns Hopkins Hospital in Maryland. According to a statement, the boys are now doing well with medication and maintenance treatment. And thanks to the Check 6 Foundation, the boys earned their wings together. They were fully outfitted in pilot uniforms and spent the day touring an airbase, led the Pledge of Allegiance, and even got to co-pilot a Boeing C-40 Clipper alongside seasoned pilots.
They've been through a lot, so this is the least we can do, you know? And they're an inspiration to all of us.
Houston's father, Zachary, said, "It's been a blessing for all of us. It was nice for them to have another little person going through what they each are going through." Tough little boys who found friendship when they needed it the most.
Coffee gets many of us out of bed in the morning, and now it might get us to work. A tech company called BioBEAM has partnered with Shell to create oil from old coffee grounds. The oil will then be blended with diesel and used to power London's red buses. It has produced 6,000 litres, or over 1,500 gallons so far, which is enough to power one bus for a whole year. The company thinks they can get that amount from about 2.5 million cups of coffee, which is really quite a lot. So they've partnered with thousands of coffee shops across the UK to collect their coffee waste. London alone produces over 200,000 tonnes a year. BioBEAM says there's potential for this project in the United States of America. Americans drink more coffee than any other country, about 400 million cups every day. If it works, the project could help cut emissions and reduce waste in landfills. It is a discovery we really could have done with before we found ourselves on the verge of all vehicles being electric.
A 14-year-old boy traveled across the country to thank a man he had never met for saving his life. Jack Apley had blood cancer and received a bone marrow transplant. Today, he's cancer-free because of a decision made by a man almost 20 years ago. That's when Mike Riley signed up to be a bone marrow donor, and it was his bone marrow that was given to Jack 2 years ago. The two, now connected for life, got to meet in Boston recently, giving Jack and his family a chance to thank Mike in person. Jack called Mike his second dad, and Mike says he considers Jack to be his third child. While they were brought together by unfortunate circumstances, they're both grateful they got a friendship out of it. Richard, what's coming up on the next Top 30?
Chris, let me tell you, we'll explain how holiday crowds get out of hand. Christmas shopping season is here, and some crowds get aggressive by looking for deals. Now, scientists are trying to understand why. We'll tell you about the psychology of shopping mobs. Salt can make it safer to drive on icy roads, but its impact on the environment are some experts calling for another solution. And this teen spent half his life in foster homes, but now he has a new home thanks to a teacher who went above and beyond. All that and more on the next Top 30.